minute.
They'll hear us though with what we're talking about. So
Oh, they'll hear us, they just won't see us?
yes, the stream is live now.
Okay. All right, so I'd like to welcome everybody to a common council meeting, our first official council meeting, doing remote meetings. So the councilors are all in seven different locations. I'm here at City Hall in the Common Council chambers, joined by City Clerk Mark Tesserario, who will read the resolutions as he always does, and also Emily Barlow, the recording secretary in the clerk's office, to record the minutes for the council meeting. Real quick, really under the mayor's report, public comment for the common council meetings, typically before the meeting from 7:15 to 7:30. There's a public comment period where people must come to City Hall and submit their name and address, and then they can talk directly to the mayor and council at City Hall during the public comment just before the council meeting. Because we aren't holding in-person meetings here at City Hall, we've set up a public comment page directly on the homepage of the city website, www.oswegony.org. And on this, you can't miss it. It's right on the homepage. If you type in the website, it'll bring you right there. If you scroll down a bit, you still have to type in your name and address, just as you would have to submit that here at City Hall. And then you can put in your question or your comment. It's already up and running, and I've received comments that are mostly inquiries for city business, not necessarily appropriate for public comment. For instance, today I had a question about how to pay a fee associated with the court system. So I responded to the individual and helped take care of that issue for him. That is a situation where I will not bring that to the public comment, but I will take care of that separately because it's really not a public comment. Now, if you write into the website on that comment post and say that you are in support of or against the renovation to City Hall, which is on the agenda tonight, I will read that out loud in the beginning of the meeting and either just put it into the record or respond if we feel it's appropriate to respond to the comment, concern, or inquiry there. So that's really no different than, I think it's even more transparent than our usual meetings because it's a lot less work. You don't actually have to come to City Hall. You can submit the comment from your home. But I do want to point out that I will not read the public comment unless you have submitted your name and your address. And just as the rules apply here at the Common Council chambers and the in-person meetings, I won't read the comment if it is vulgar or slander or any personal attacks. So just keep that in mind. Before we start the meeting, I do want to, and I should say the meetings, just like the committee meeting last week, will be posted. They're live streamed, obviously, and then they will be posted immediately to the city's YouTube channel so people can see them. And then obviously meeting minutes, agendas are always posted to the city website. So we try to keep these meetings as transparent as possible, even during this unique time. I want to take a moment to remind people that City Hall is closed. It's not open to the public. All city business can pretty much be conducted through the city website, again, oswegony.org. Anything to do with code enforcement, building permits, engineering, personnel, assessment, city clerk, Chamberlain's really can be handled through the city website. If you need to pay your taxes, either mail in the payment or you can call the city Chamberlain's office Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays from 9 a.m. to 12. The number is 315-342-8105, and you can make your payment with a credit card or debit card using that phone number payment over the phone. I want to remind people again that we have extended the deadline for taxes and fees out 30 days, so you have a little time to work with no penalty there. Remind people we still have a stay-at-home order in effect for the city of Oswego. We put that in place some time ago, and we have yet to lift it. So please, no necessary travel unless it's for shopping for essential items only, or unless you are declared an essential worker going to and from work, or unless you have a medical appointment. Couple more points of business before we get going. I'd like to remind the public we have a mechanism in place for people to report mass gatherings in residential neighborhoods or in public space, and to report businesses that appear to be operating that are not essential businesses. So if you think a business is still open and operating as normal and they shouldn't be, we ask you to call in to 315-342-8120 anonymously, or write into Oswego PD at oswegony.org, and we will address those situations. Lastly, the City of Oswego Emergency Assistance website is everything related to COVID-19 as far as number of cases, tests, etc., and also any assistance you may need because of COVID-19, anything from help with unemployment to small business assistance to food banks to childcare. It's all on that one-stop shop website that we put together quickly to accommodate people who may be going through financial difficulties or any other difficulty during this time. So just want to take a moment and remind everybody that's everything we have under the mayor's report. Does council have anything to add?
No.
See none. Will clerk please call resolution number 99? Oh, actually, yeah, please call the roll.
The mayor.
Here.
Councilor McBrady.
Here.
Councilor Burridge.
Here.
Councilor Hill.
Here.
Councilor Walker.
Here.
Councilor Gossett.
Here.
Councilor Testorio.
He's excused.
Councilor Cordino.
Here.
6 present, 1 excused.
Thank you. Will clerk please call resolution number 99?
Approved minutes, special common council meeting held March 16, 2020.
Councilor McBrearty, Councilor Hill. Any comments? Please call the roll.
Councilor McBrady.
Yes.
Councilor Burridge.
Yes.
Councilor Hill.
Yes.
Councilor Walker.
Yes.
Councilor Gossett.
Yes.
Councilor Cordino.
Yes.
Resolution passes 601.
Will clerk please call resolution 100?
Appoint Commissioner of Deeds.
Councilor Walker, Councilor Corradino. Any comments? Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilor McBrady.
Yes.
Councilor Burridge.
Yes.
Councilor Hill.
Yes.
Councilor Walker.
Yes.
Councilor Gossett.
Yes.
Councilor Cordino.
Yes.
Resolution passes 601.
Clerk, please call resolution 101.
Approve use of public space Kathleen O. Beaudry, owner of a single-family dwelling located at 69 East 12th Street, in order to install a fence.
Councilor Walker, Councilor Burridge. Any comments? Call the roll.
Councilor McBrady.
Yes.
Councilor Burridge.
Yes.
Councilor Hill.
Yes.
Councilor Walker.
Yes.
Councilor Gossett.
Yes.
Councilor Cordino.
Yes.
Resolution passes 601.
Will clerk please call resolution 102?
Approve use of public space Thomas Edwards, owner of multiple properties located on 5th Beach Road, in order to install a fence.
Councilor Burridge, Councilor Walker. Any comments? Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilor McBrady.
Yes.
Councilor Burridge.
Yes.
Councilor Hill.
Yes.
Councilor Walker.
Yes.
Councilor Gossett.
Yes.
Councilor Cordino.
Yes.
Passes 601.
Will clerk please call resolution 103?
Approve use of public space Gene Ritz, in order to host the Ritz Kids Crush Cancer 5K on Saturday, October 4th, 2020.
Councilor Cornell, Councilor Hill. Any comments? Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilor McBrady.
Yes.
Councilor Burridge.
Yes.
Councilor Hill.
Yes.
Councilor Walker.
Yes.
Gossett.
Yes.
Councilor Cordino.
Yes.
Resolution passes 601.
Will clerk please call resolution 104?
Approve use of public space by the Oswego YMCA in order to run on Saturday, December 2020.
Councilor McBrearty, Councilor Hill. Any comments? Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilor McBrady.
Yes.
Councilor Burridge.
Yes.
Councilor Hill.
Yes.
Councilor Walker.
Yes.
Councilor Gossett.
Yes.
Councilor Cordino.
Yes.
Resolution passes 6-0-1.
Will clerk please call resolution 105?
Authorize mayor to execute a one-year renewal agreement with
Always use that blanket.
Councilor Borodino? Councilor Gozick? Any comments? Call the roll.
Councilor McBurney,
Yes.
Councilor Burge,
Yes.
Councilor Hill,
Yes.
Councilor Walker,
Yes.
Councilor Gossip,
Yes.
Councilor Bordino.
Yes.
Resolution passes 6-0-1.
Clerk, please call resolution 106.
Authorize mayor to enter into a service agreement with Fulfillment Technologies to provide maintenance services for the city of the records management system.
Councilor Burridge, Councilor Hill. Any comments? Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilor McBurney,
Yes.
Councilor Burge,
Yes.
Councilor Hill,
Yes.
Councilor Walker,
Yes.
Councilor Gossip,
Yes.
Councilor Bordino.
Yes.
Resolution passes 6-0-1.
Will clerk please call resolution 107?
Approve revised bid submitted by for the general construction of the Squiggle City Hall building project.
Councilor Hill, Councilor Gozick. This is the City Hall restoration project. It is a $2.6 million project total. We secured in 2018 a $500,000 grant from New York State to help pay for some of the renovations and improvements here at City Hall. The nature of the work really consists of replacing the roof, replacing gutters, replacing some of the windows, and also a big portion of the work is masonry work. If you stand in Civic Plaza and look at City Hall, you'll actually see some of the movement and disruption and a lot of the stone masonry work here at City Hall. And actually the bell tower is in dire need of to be restabilized. So a lot of the work will be and money will be focused on those repairs. They're not really enhancements to the building per se, but they're more of just work that needs to be done. The building, most people may not know, but it's obviously a very historic building. It was built in 1870. City government occupied the building in 1871. So I think it's important to preserve this historic building. And as I said last week, the number of people who comment and compliment the city and tell me how fortunate we are to have such a historic, beautiful City Hall happens every day when people are in and out of City Hall. So it's important to preserve it. Again, these repairs and this money will be put towards not necessarily improvements to the building, but work that will preserve City Hall for many, many years to come, and work that, quite frankly, needs to be done. Last week I said that when I was mayor-elect coming into office, the DPW commissioner at the time had one piece of advice, and that was to tend to the issues at City Hall immediately, because they were issues that were happening for many, many years. So we're happy to secure the $500,000 grant. Back in 2017, the balance of the funding was included in our 5-year capital plan. So the council at that time and the council since has expressed how important it is to preserve this building and to provide the funds necessary to do so. So I'm proud to see this project move forward. We've been in conversation with the low bidder who we're about to award this to. He plans to begin work in early or mid-May, depending on weather. And the city has deemed the City Hall construction project essential because, as I said last week, the roof leaks. Actually, when it rains outside, it rains inside on the 3rd floor of City Hall. And because timing is critical for a lot of the stone work, we really can't go a whole lot longer with the disruption in the stone. And every time it rains, every time it freezes, that stone moves and is disrupted a little bit each time. So timing is important, and we're going to push this project through. With that, any councilors have any questions, comments? Councilor Gozick?
Yeah, I just wanted to echo your sentiments. Being the 150th anniversary of the building of our City Hall and being such a monumental and in many respects, a landmark that the city's identified with. I just wanted to say I'm very proud being on the council the last 5 years. That this is one of the proudest moments I've had being on the council to know that after the last restoration in 1980, when they preserved the building, here we are another couple generations later, leaving this great legacy to our city. So I just wanted to thank you for all the hard work you put in and being a man of your word, because without your vision, without you putting together our capital projects, itinerary for all this time, this project never would have come to fruition, and we could possibly lose one of the greatest treasures we have. So I appreciate it, and I support it 100%.
Thank you, Counselor, and thank you for your continued support with your multiple votes over the last 4 years. Any other comments? Seeing none, will clerk please call the roll?
Counselor McBurry.
Yes.
Counselor Burridge.
Yes.
Counselor Hill.
Yes.
Counselor Walker.
Yes.
Counselor Gosek.
Yes.
Counselor Cordino.
Yes.
Resolution passes 6-0-1.
Will clerk please call resolution 108?
Read the rules of the common council to present resolution number 109 from the floor without committee consideration.
Counselor McBrearty, Counselor Burridge. Any comments? Clerk please call the roll?
Counselor McBurry.
Yes.
Counselor Burridge.
Yes.
Counselor Hill.
Yes.
Counselor Walker.
Yes.
Counselor Gosek.
Yes.
Counselor Cordino.
Yes.
Resolution passes 6-0-1.
Will clerk please call resolution 109?
Authorize public hearing regarding National Grid's relocation of pipeline 55.
Counselor Corradino, Counselor Walker. This has to do with a major National Grid project that Kevin Caracoli, the city attorney who is on the feed here with us, has been working on for quite some time, back and forth with National Grid. If you'll remember, they came with this project probably last spring. We weren't totally satisfied with the nature of the work, so with Counselor Corradino, Counselor Tesorios, but Kevin Caracoli has been working and negotiating and pushing back on National Grid to make sure that they change some of their project to and understand our expectations and meet our expectations. So I'll let Kevin Caracoli speak to this item.
Thank you, Mayor. The last time this issue was in front of the Common Council was in December of 2019. As the mayor pointed out earlier that year, Greg had presented a plan. This is in part to drill under the Squiggle River from west side to east side, connect to their transmission lines behind the reservoir, heading out onto the Legend softball field, roughly, give you some perspective. There's an issue with drilling and noise that is generated from that drilling. The mayor pointed out, first go around didn't work out so well. Lots of questions. We asked National Grid to go back to the drawing board. They did, and really came up with a plan that was far superior to the first plan, and candidly reduced the amount of noise interference substantially, to the point where there are only a minimal disruption to property owners and neighborhoods. Part of that, and incidentally, that work, and I want to clarify for the record, I think the resolution I prepared stated that work is mandated by the New York State Public Service Commission. It's not mandated by the PSC. It's actually required to be in compliance with the federal pipeline safety regulations. So this is a safety upgrade to ensure not only compliance, but reliable service. It's obviously critical when you're drilling underneath the river. This is high pressure gas. And so there's a time sensitivity. There's a need to drill virtually around the clock. But the way that the company has proposed this plan, the amount of public disruption is going to be substantially reduced. Nevertheless, they are requesting a waiver of the noise variance. This council, or the prior council, excuse me, did grant that waiver in December of 2019, one of the last things that the council did. But there was a question regarding the environmental review. This is a project that is subject to SEQR, the State Environmental Quality Review Act. And the company felt it was a stronger presentation if there was a clear record that the City of Oswego and the Common Council underwent the environmental review that's necessary. We believe from a preliminary perspective, when I say we, the staff, meaning myself, the city engineer, and his staff, believe that there are not going to be any significant environmental impacts associated with this project. But nevertheless, the record needs to reflect that. So the company has prepared what's called a Part 1 full environmental assessment form. We are in the process of reviewing Part 2 and 3, which is the city's responsibility, and we'll be providing a report and recommendation to the council in time for the next full council meeting, probably in time for the next committee meeting, but certainly before the any vote is taken. The purpose for tonight's action is to establish the public hearing date, and that is being proposed to be held at the next Common Council full council meeting on the 27th of April. And that's where representatives of National Grid will be prepared to answer any additional questions. Now, I can tell you, because I've talked to them directly, that there are no surprises here. In fact, there are no changes to what was previously approved. So I'm anticipating that this public hearing will be quick, but nevertheless, the company is entitled to that public hearing. We're entitled to, and required to hold it, and the public is more than welcome to participate in that hearing, asking questions ahead of time or live as the hearing is playing out. And that is essentially it. So tonight's action again is just to simply establish the public hearing date. And we'll call on representatives of National Grid to make a presentation in 2 weeks. Prior to a final decision being made, we will be presenting an environmental review proposal to the council to act on. Again, it's our anticipation that that would be what's called a negative declaration, meaning there are no significant impacts, environmental impacts, as a result of this project. Happy to answer any questions. I know I took a little bit of time, but I just wanted to make that very clear. By the way, if you haven't received it already, there is a transcript from the December hearing, and I believe that the clerk has a copy of it and may have already circulated. If clerk's office has not, you will be getting it very shortly. So with that, I'll yield to the mayor or anyone else. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Kevin, and thanks for your work and time into this project. Any comments from the
Mayor?
Councilor Cordino?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mayor. City Attorney. I know that Councilor Tesorio is not here, and as we both, all of us know, the project is going to affect the 6th Ward and the 7th Ward primarily because it's drilling under the river, but it affects the 6th and 7th Ward. And I know that the project as now presented is 100% better than it was originally. It's just that I'm concerned with the neighbors who are going to be affected in my ward, which is primarily the people who live on Route 48. There's about 5 or 6 houses there. And I certainly want to make sure that they're well informed, and I'm going to do my best to inform them. But I'm concerned that if they have these questions, how, this is the venue that we have during this COVID-19 outbreak. But if somebody doesn't have the ability to log on I just want to make sure their voices are heard. So what's the best way if somebody, one of the residents, after I speak to them, if they don't have the ability to log on to make their voice known, talk to me, contact the city attorney, talk to the mayor? I mean, how can we get their voices heard on this important project?
Would it make sense? Then they'll do the public hearing here, but beforehand, maybe have a call with you and Councilor Cordino, and he can relay back to his constituents if they have any questions, or reach out to them to fill them in on exactly what the project is, or what do you think the best method is there?
Yeah, so the good news is that National Grid has prepared a pretty detailed analysis of the noise impact. I think that would be important for the neighbors to see, because it really does show how the decibel levels are reduced. They've also are instituting some sound deadening techniques. So I really think that the more information that we provide to the public, the better the understanding. And I think, based on my conversations with councilors Cordino and Tesoriero at the time, that many of the folks that believe that they will be impacted will understand that that impact, if it occurs, is going to be minimal, and the noise interference is going to be fairly reduced. I know that I've personally been, as a property owner, been interrupted by some of the work that's being done. Granted, it was drilling underground and not across the river. But I can, if it's anything like I experienced, it's extremely minimal. You don't even recognize it unless you're paying attention to it. That being said, there are lots of materials. I'll coordinate that with all of the common councilors, in particular councilors Cordino and Tesoriero, so that they can distribute that to the public. I'm also available to answer questions, and we can even put members of the public in touch with folks from National Grid who are on the line and listening. I know it's not their night to speak necessarily, but in my discussions with them, I'm confident that I can represent that they'd be happy to answer any questions that any property owners or the public may have about this project.
Well, I think that the more information that we can provide the residents, the better. Because again, a project of this size and scope, even though it's better than it was originally, I think it's important to make sure that they're aware of the sound decibels and the duration of the project. And I mean, I'm sure they have many, many questions, and I just think that we should be proactive and get that into their hands as soon as possible. So I'm looking forward to getting some information that I can maybe have copied and distribute myself. I'll go to the residents' houses. As I said, it's primarily 5 or 6 houses on Route 48 along the country club, near the country club, that I'm concerned about, because they're the closest to where the line will be coming in under the river. So again, I just want to make sure that we get the information to those people who are going to be impacted the most. Thank you.
Kevin, do you know how do you have a sense of time? Makes sense for have them speak next week, and then we vote on that 2 weeks later, or I suppose next week we're just taking a vote. Tonight we're taking a vote to establish the public hearing. Maybe that'll give the constituents 2 weeks to reach out ahead of that public hearing even. But do we need to vote following the public hearing 2 weeks from tonight, or what? Public hearing in 2 weeks, vote 2 weeks after that?
So clearly you need to have the public hearing. You don't have to take a vote that evening. The first action before a vote is taken is to adopt a negative declaration on the environmental aspect of this. The company's not under a time deadline, a hard deadline that's expiring at the end of the month, for instance. So we have some time. But we will also make available the transcripts of the last hearing. And again, on the representations that I've heard directly from the company that the project is not changing in any way. A lot of that information will be available, and many of the questions that people may have may be answered by just reading that transcript. It's about 18 pages long. It's a pretty easy read. If you recall from the last meeting, it wasn't a significant public hearing, but it was, it was detailed. They got the information across, and the information they provided was substantially a substantial improvement over the first time they presented it. And I think that's why the council adopted this waiver of the noise variance, I believe unanimously, if my memory serves me correctly, in December.
Yeah, that was Susan's.
So why don't we authorize the public hearing, have that 2 weeks from tonight, and we'll have the vote on the agenda. And depending on how much ground you and Councilor Cordino make with the constituents between now and then, we can be prepared to vote. But ultimately, I think if Councilor Cordino's uncomfortable with having the vote the same night, then we can always communicate with Grid, have them push back the city 2 weeks to answer or constituents case scenario.
I think that's a great idea, and I would recommend that we do that, have the option of voting, but if we need to table it for some reason, then we'll be able to do that as well.
Right. Councilor Cordino, is that you?
Yes, that's acceptable to me. I think that's a good way to go. I will be working with our city attorney to get some documentation in the hands of those residents that are going to be impacted and try to explain it the best I can and get their questions ahead of time. So thank you for considering the impact on these people. Thank you.
Councilor Burridge, did you have a comment or question?
I was just wondering how long the drilling's actually going to take.
So this is up from National Grid. Kevin, I can answer that if you'd like. Great. So the drill is scheduled to start in April of 2021, and then I believe Christy or Stan, these are other National Grid employees. If you don't mind just confirming approximately when the drilling will end.
Yeah, this is Stan Police from National Grid. I cannot say it's going to take 6 weeks, 8 weeks, or 12 weeks. We're in solid rock. We're going to drill approximately 50 foot a day for the pilot. All right. So once we get the pilot through, then we have to ream out. The pipe going under the river is 16-inch, and I need to drill to 1.5 times diameter of that. I need at least a 24-inch hole. So to commit myself to say it's going to take 4 months, 5 months is risky. We'll do the best we can to do it in the shortest amount of time with the least amount of interruption to the city and the city residents as possible, if that makes sense.
It does. Thank you.
It's just very difficult for me to say it's going to take 4 months or 5 months. And I think you understand. So, but I'd be happy to talk to any resident that wants to talk to me, and I can explain the process and explain, just what they should expect. So.
I think it covers it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments from the council?
Will this be on the agenda for next week's committee meeting?
No, so tonight we're voting to authorize the public hearing, and then public hearing takes place at council meetings, so we'll jump 2 weeks to that council meeting where the vote would be.
Okay.
The only reason it hasn't come before the committee meeting lately is because it came in front of the committee 2 times last year, at least 2 times, maybe even 3.
It was.
All right, any other questions? Seeing none, will clerk please call the roll?
Councilman McCreary.
Yes.
Councilor Burr.
Yes.
Councilor Hill.
Yes.
Councilor Walker.
Yes.
Counselor Gossett,
Yes.
Counselor Cornino.
Yes.
Resolution passes 601.
Okay, that's the last resolution. Any unfinished business to come before the council? Seeing none, I'll take a motion to adjourn. Counselor Walker, Counselor Gozick. Will clerk please call the roll?
Counselor Creighton,
Yes.
Counselor Burge,
Yes.
Counselor Hill,
Yes.
Counselor Walker,
Yes.
Counselor Gossett,
Yes.
Counselor Cornino.
Yes.
Resolution passes 601.
Thank you. I'd like to thank the public who may have tuned in. Again, you can rewatch the meeting. It'll be posted on our YouTube channel. And our next remote meeting will be next Monday for our bi-weekly committee meetings, and that'll begin at 6:30. You can live stream that meeting as well using the same YouTube channel. So thanks for those who tuned in, and we'll talk to you all next week.